Hi, my name is Ariel Hall, and I'm here with Jeff Moore and Bailee Mauldin. And today we're going to be talking about how Jeff got paralyzed due to an infection in his spine, and he came to the Tarleton's Motor Behavior Lab, and they got him to walk and even run a 5K. How you doing, Jeff? How you doing, Bailee?
Good. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little about your situation and how it all happened?
Okay. Well, basically, I had been having pain in my back from November of 2014, and it just kept getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
So in January, I had gone to the emergency room, and it took 6 trips to the emergency room before they finally figured out that it was an infection on my spine. And then I spent a week in the hospital when they did a biopsy, and during that time the infection pressed into my spinal cord. We didn't realize it. They sent me home, and next morning I couldn't stand or walk, or I had no control over everything that was below my waist. And went back into the hospital. They had to put me right into surgery, and they were able to clean out the infection, and they were hoping that it would heal up. But the next morning, they had me do a CAT scan, and they realized there was too much damage, that they'd have to fuse my back and put in a couple of rods. And so I went back into surgery again. Both the surgeries were about 9 hours long. And then after that, it was in the ICU, and that's pretty much where I ended up at. Due to the assistance of some of the social workers at the hospital, they were able to get the hospital to get me into a facility for 30 days for rehabilitation and for just my general care for during that time. So I was able to go there for 30 days, and while I was there, the social worker at that facility had heard about the lab down here at Tarleton, but she really didn't know a whole lot of information. So I got on the internet, found out about the lab, called and talked to Dr. Priest, and then in April of 2015, after I got out of the other facility, I came directly here, and so I've been coming here for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in April. The most I could do at the rehab facility they had was stand at the parallel bars for maybe 3 minutes, and they only were allowed 45 minutes a day for my rehabilitation. That was only 3 days a week, and it was only for 3 weeks. And then the social workers got them able to go for the 4th week, and so I was able to get almost 5 days a week the 3rd week, and then I got 5 days a week the 4th week, and but it was only for 40 minutes at a time, and they were required to update their tablet during that time. So I actually only got about 30 minutes of actual rehab each day. Most of what we did, my wife and I did in our hospital room. We tried to do things that would help me progress. So we actually got, after the therapy was done, we actually got to the point where I could stand for about 7-8 minutes at a time, and that was about it. And then they, we really were at a loss. We had no, idea where we would go from there. And basically everyone was telling us this was it. This is all you're going to get. You're not going to have any more help. You have to rely on yourselves. And part of the problem of that is because we didn't have insurance. And so it kind of left us up in the air of what we were going to do. So the lab turned out to be a very big blessing for us, because I was able to come, start getting some rehabilitation. I could work as many hours as I wanted to, 5 days a week, as long as the lab was open. So I tried to come every single day, and I start doing about an hour and a half to 2 hours. After a while, I stretched it to 3, then to 4, and they got me walking between the parallel bars, and they encouraged me the entire time and pushed me to get myself going, and it worked. December of that year, before Christmas, 2015, I was able to just park the wheelchair and not use it again. And I was in it for 9 months straight.
That is amazing.
So
that is so amazing.
It was.
Bailee, how do you feel about the situation, like his situation?
I just remember when Jeff came to us, you know, the hardest thing for us to see was the amount of pain that he was in. Seeing that, you know, somebody coming to us, and it was just a struggle just to even fight through that pain each and every day. It was tough. It wears on you as a trainer, and that was my actually very first internship in the lab. And it was tough to see somebody going through that, because all you want to do is take that away. And there wasn't anything that we could do to take the pain away immediately from him. And we knew that we had to push him, and we did. And it was tough to see him in the pain that he was going through whenever we were pushing him. But, you know, that's the thing though with Jeff. He continued to push through it no matter how excruciating it was, because he knew that that was the only way to get better. And that was probably one of the most difficult parts, I think, of the whole journey, I think, for us, was seeing the beginning of how somebody could be so defiant and so determined, no matter what they were putting themselves through. They knew that in the end that it was for the better for them. And we were so blessed to be a part of that process. It changes us. As much as we tell, you know, people that we're here to change all the other people's lives, I think it changes ours in ways that we never thought it could. I know I'm incredibly lucky to have had worked with Jeff. We've built a good relationship, and he helps me through the day mentally, for sure. We like to sit down and talk, you know, throughout the workouts and stuff. He's helped, you know, shape us and grow us, you know, into the individuals in the lab. It's not just something that, you know, we're proud of what we're doing for people, but we're proud of the progress that, you know, that they're making. And, you know, for Jeff, it was the fact that he got to put that wheelchair away. That's something that you don't hear of. That's not something you hear a story on the street, you know, every day somebody gets out of the wheelchair and gets to put it away. Yeah. And that was, we always tell people, like, it's not anything short of a miracle. We tell people we really do get rid of the wheelchairs. They really do come in a wheelchair and come out walking, and people look at us like, no, how? And it's mentally, it wears on you. And it's something that went home, I think, with us interns, you know, for sure. And it's something that's even grown on me more as a GA now. The fact that I've built this relationship with Jeff has really helped me through a lot. Seeing the things that he overcame has been physically and mentally. He's incredibly strong. There's a lot of people that wouldn't be able to do it. I can see, you know, the way his legs were swollen when he came to us, the amount of pain that was there. I mean, it's not something that we even think about. You know, activities that he would do, we don't think twice about. We take it for granted, and he wasn't. You know, that was something that he was having to work towards and retrain his body, and that was, you don't think about that. I mean, you don't. And so when you have to retrain your body to do all that, it took a toll on us mentally, you know, as interns, for sure, because we wanted to do whatever we could to make sure that he was happy again. You
Yeah.
know, that's definitely.
So you like had to kind of gain his trust.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for Jeff to stand up, I mean, we probably have 4 or 5 interns around him, making sure he didn't fall, making sure that we were in the right positions. And his wife was in there helping us. Peg was in there. You know, she would pull the wheelchair out, and there'd be about 5 of us in the parallel bars with him. And, you know, he was trusting us to make sure he didn't fall, too. But that's what has been so amazing about this whole process is the fact that, you know, we've gained his trust, and I know that I can go to Jeff over anything now. So we've gotten really close, and it's been great to have that relationship out of this whole place. So
what was the steps that y'all took to like help Jeff
we did
mentally and physically?
Gosh, mentally, wow. It's not something that you can just tell somebody. You can say that it's going to be okay, but the theme with going into this field is you have to accept what you're going through, and you're not going to have great days.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I could tell you that every day is going to be a great day. You're not, and you're not always going to be happy, and it's not going to be easy. And you know, as trainers, we have to learn to be realistic, and that's something that we had to do, to be transparent with Jeff, and he was transparent with us. It was very raw, it was very emotional. It definitely changed your perspective on everything, for sure. I think that was one of the. I think that probably was even harder than the physical aspect of it, was the fact that seeing what he was going through emotionally, and you could see it on his face, knowing what was going on the inside of him. That was incredibly hard to see somebody go through that much pain, and you can't take it away in that moment. You just have to keep pushing him, and as hard as it is for you, you got to do it. We got to keep pushing through. We can't stop. You know, you say you want to get rid of this wheelchair, so this is what we're gonna have to do. And we started him up in the parallel bars. We had a gait belt on him. Simply started out as standing him up, stretching his legs out, and eventually we moved into the walking portion. We focused on his ankle mobility, his ankle flexion, the standing frame. You know, the fact that Jeff got to stand up for the first time, and it was awesome to see him standing up again, out of the wheelchair. That's a huge step for us, to see somebody in that position again.
Jeff, was it difficult for you? Like, did you ever have a doubt in your mind, like, is it just too much, you want to give up? Did you ever have those?
Every day. I mean, it was, especially when I first came.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was probably the worst part, because I basically felt like there was no hope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for the first couple of months, I'd even been talking with my wife about needing to buy a better wheelchair, because I figured I was going to be in the wheelchair for years.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a feeling I had. But the more Bailee and the rest of the interns worked with me,
Mm-hmm.
and the more they encouraged me, and then I started to see that, you know, I could get out of this. And so I just dropped the whole idea of getting into the wheelchair. But it was difficult. If I didn't have the encouragement from my wife and from the interns in the lab, I would have basically had no hope. Mm-hmm. I have no doubt in my mind that if we hadn't come to me work at the lab,
Mm-hmm.
that I would still be in the wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
and I would not be doing the things I'm doing now. You know, working at the lab, I realized that the pain I was feeling,
Mm-hmm.
that the pain was bad anyway, and it was going to continue that way. But the more I worked, the more I exercised,
Mm-hmm.
the more they worked with me, stretching me out and everything else, I've realized that the pain was more manageable
Mm-hmm.
the more I did things, and that it wasn't near as intense as if I just did nothing. So, and plus, I did feel better about myself. And each little accomplishment, I had to look for the small things. You know, I wanted to to just get away from the wheelchair and everything else immediately. And it's even like when I went to get out of the wheelchair, then I started using 2 canes. And I had to progress slowly, and I didn't want to use the canes, but I had to. And so it got me to the point of what I'm able to do today. I use the cane. Some days I have bad days. I have to have it. Most of the time now, though, it stabilizes me when I need it. But if I get up a pace and walking, I can actually not even bother to use it during that time. So, and that's really, it's all been due to Bailee and everybody else at the lab. All the interns, GAs I've worked with, they've helped me succeed.
So I heard you ran a 5K.
I actually was in 4 of them. Walked my first one in April of last year, and did one in July, and then 2 in October. So
you didn't just hop out the wheelchair and just keep pushing.
Well, yeah, a little bit more than that in between, but it's taken a lot of work.
What made you want to run a 5K?
Mostly because while I was still in the wheelchair, my wife, daughter, and son-in-law were in the Color Chaos that September. And I was in the wheelchair watching them. And I just decided that the next year I was going to be in it. And so the Color Chaos was ran again in October of last year, and so I was in.
How did you feel like seeing him doing the first 5K? Like, how did you feel about that?
I mean, we can't take all the credit, obviously, for it. That was something that he did. That was the fact that he was so determined to do that. A lot of people, whenever they come into this situation, whenever they think that there's no hope at that point, they don't look to do anything like that anymore. They don't, I don't want to say that they don't want to get better, but they're content with being content, and Jeff is the farthest thing from that. And when he said that he wanted to do 5K, we were like, all right, that's not something we even do. So that is, wow, that was, it was a proud moment for us because that was something that he decided on his own. That was nothing of our choice. That was something that he decided that he wanted to do. And we were like, all right, well, where do we need to go from here then? What do we need to do? And there's this one picture of Jeff actually from the most recent one, and he's crossing the finish line. He's got his hands up in the air. And to me, that picture, I think, represents the emotion that, all of us have felt, through his transformation. That one picture speaks so much volume. Him coming across the finish line cheering, because to see where he first started, to see where he is now, it's just incredible. And he's incredibly strong. That's so true.
We're a really small town, and really no one knows of Tarleton.
Yeah.
Or what would you say y'all philosophy is?
So in the lab, we always tell people that exercise is medicine. And we started out with 2 cycles. And, Dr. Priest, the great founder, creator of this place, his motto to people always is changing lives one revolution at a time. And we've kind of taken it upon ourselves too, as GAs and interns and in the lab, to those individuals in society who view disabilities or special needs as different, or that individual is no longer considered normal. We disagree with that, and it's our job to prove those people wrong. We want to show society just how incredibly strong physically and mentally our individuals are. And that's been one of the hardest things to do, but that has been one of the most rewarding experiences I think that we've had, and that we can share that with society and show to them just how incredible that these individuals are.
Jeff, what advice would you give somebody that has been in your situation?
Just keep trying, keep working, don't give up. It's hard because, I mean, it's just, you feel like there is no hope, that you might as well just give up. And you can't. You know, there's always hope. Body is an incredible tool. I mean, it's capable of so much, and being able to heal itself in a lot of ways. But your mind's got to be along with the ride. You know, I can't just say, you know, if you give up, your body's going to even try.
Yeah.
And so, and you need the encouragement. You need to find somebody to work with you, to encourage you, to help you through those things, because you're always going to have hard times. It's always going to be times when it seems to be totally impossible. And then you'll get that little breakthrough, and it'll take you through to the next time where it gets hard, and you just do the whole thing over again. But you do have to have support, and that's what I get from the lab, no doubt about it.
So would you recommend anybody coming to the lab that doesn't know about the lab?
Yeah, I would.
What's the best part about it?
Best part about the lab? Just the fact that everyone there, they, for the most part, they work with you, encourage you, and they're there. And when you go the next day, they're still going to be there. And I know that, you know, it's one of the hardest parts is you get so used to the people that are there, then every semester it changes. And that's one of the parts that's a little on the hard side, but they have to go on to do their lives too. So, but no, that's being able to come there and get that has been amazing. It's the only thing I believe that's got me to the point I am here now.
What would you say about the lab?
In general? Gosh. It's completely changed my outlook on life. I'll be completely honest with you. I always knew that I wanted to help people, and just being able to be into this environment, it completely changes the way that you look on life in general, how much we take for granted. The things that, you know, these individuals have to go through on a daily basis, we don't think twice about that they have to modify, that they have to adapt. And that's where we come in. That's what we want to do. And it's not an easy field to go into. The lab, however, is so innovative. It's so different. It allows us to be creative. It allows us to try new things. And I'll admit, we failed. But then again, I mean, without failure, we wouldn't be trying. It's not a field for, you know, the weary kind. I would definitely say that, but it is one of the most rewarding fields, and the lab has given me more than I think that I could have ever imagined. The relationships that we build in there with people, it's a family, it's a team. It's what we do in there is. It's like our own little world in there. We forget when we go out into the real world, they question what we do. They don't understand it. It intimidates them. And for those people, I have to say, well, too bad. You know, we're doing something that other people said that we couldn't. And it's what we want to do. We love it. We're passionate about it. We want to help other people. We want to see them succeed again. They say that they have a goal, and we want to be there for them. We want to be a part of that process. We want to see them happy again. The emotional aspect has to be one of the most, it's one of the toughest things that we face on a daily basis in there, but it's one of the most rewarding experiences that we get to be part of that journey with our clients. That every day that they come in there, it's a celebration. Because every day that they get up, they know that they have to face reality. And it's not easy, but they come in there and We're loud, we're rowdy, we're different, we're outspoken in there, but we're not afraid to shake up the game. We're not afraid to make a statement with people. We're not afraid to help others. I don't know, it's going to be hard to leave. It's incredibly hard to leave that place, but it's definitely changed our lives, that's for sure.
Yes.
I
It's
think
enjoyable.
It is. It is. I love it. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.